Many years ago, there was an old priest who served his community faithfully and well. He did baby blessings, funerals, weddings, and if any one of his parishioners needed advice, the priest was always there to listen. Unfortunately, as the years went on, it became clear that he could no longer fulfill the duties of his office. He needed to pass on both his temple and his responsibilities to someone else. But this presented a problem. The priest had no biological heir, thus he had no one to give the temple to. And then he noticed something. There was a tree in front of the temple. Some say it had been there before the temple had even been built. It was old and it was strange looking. Some of its branches turned inwards on themselves as if they were tying themselves into knots. Others were missing leaves. Some of them ran perpendicular to the ground. And the trunk of the tree itself ran up at a 45-degree angle. It didn't go straight up and down like one would expect. To put it simply, it was not what one would call a beautiful tree. So, the priest posted a sign saying that anyone who could tell him how to fix this tree would inherit his temple and all the lands around it. Well, as you can imagine, word got out and people came from all around attempting to answer his koan. Some people said he should cut down the tree and start over from new. Others said that he should use sticks and stones to straighten out the branches over time. The monk listened carefully to each one of these answers, and then he would grab his frying pan and chase the person off of his property. This went on for several years until it seemed like no one would answer his question. No one would inherit the priest's temple. Until finally, a young nun happened upon the sign, and she needed a place to stay for the night. So she asked the temple priest, "Sir, may I spend the night at your temple?" And he said, "I'll do you one better. I will give you my temple if you can solve my koan." The woman read the sign, and she stared at the tree. A moment passed. Another moment passed. She checked it from a different angle. And right when the priest was going to ask her, "Hey, did you forget about me?" the woman replied, "You don't need to fix the tree. There's nothing wrong with it." When the priest heard this answer, he smiled. He invited the woman into the temple and said, "Please come in. We have much to talk about." And when the old priest died, she inherited the temple, his responsibilities, and all the lands around it. The moral of the story is this. There was nothing wrong with the tree inherently. Yes, it was gnarled, it was strange looking, but it was simply manifesting the karma of its life. It was only in our minds that there was an issue. It was only our minds that said that it needed to grow up straight, that the branches needed to have leaves, that they couldn't be shaped in specific ways. We created a problem in the tree and then we tried to solve it. Now, we ourselves are trees metaphorically once a year when it comes time to make New Year's resolutions. We look at ourselves in the mirror and we decide, well, I need to lose weight. I need to earn more money. I need to be in a relationship. 2024, new year, new me. And while there's nothing inherently wrong about New Year's resolutions, while they can be fun, part of me wonders what would life be like if we did away with this tradition? What if instead of looking at ourselves and finding problems in the same way that people looked at the tree and found problems, we instead work to accept ourselves exactly as we are, twisted branches and all? It's my position that if we learn to practice acceptance of ourselves, it would become easier to accept others as they are. It's my position that as we learn to show ourselves more love and compassion, we would also be able to show more love and compassion to others. But this becomes very hard to do if we insist on looking at ourselves and finding problems that need to be solved. So, I would like to gently suggest that maybe we do away with the New Year's resolutions for this year. Or, if we insist on making one, we say this: may I learn to be more accepting and more loving of myself, exactly as I am. Amitabha.